as I channel, so, be aware of that. If you don't know where the details are for bookings, they are directly below. Good old Mercury's mucking with me. Okay, now we will get into the energy. I'll wait a few moments just in case anyone's awake in the universe to directly connect with us. If you do have any questions, you can put them in the video. Now, number one, Mercury has been pretty rough on you guys, because the North Node is in your first house placement. So if you were finding in the month of February, probably even by mid-January, that there were misunderstandings and frustration, it should be alleviated shortly. Morning giggle. So, number one, we are going to be having Mars transit into Gemini, okay? So this can make you more energetic. You may be really pursuing things, but you may be more inclined to be a little bit snappy this month. And that can be if somebody's really irking you. But I feel if you can pour your energy into yourself, and you can do things that resonate with you, and you create those healthy boundaries with individuals, and just really have a code word so that they know that maybe this might not be the best month to mess with the Gemini. It will be there until April. I told you I was going to mention April the 23rd, where Mars will then transit into Cancer. Now, I'm just going to briefly look at your chart. Now, for you, this can be your second house placement. This can be relating to the way you're generating money. So I would strongly suggest, if you can put a little bit of money away, you may have a change in those circumstances, and it can be good. It can actually be a place where you're actually going to be able to tackle that financial situation, maybe get a new contract, have leeway in it. So it can be very positive. But do be careful with your nerve energy as you move over to that position. There can particularly be tension with that place. So there can be jealousy and things to that degree that can arise, especially because it is Mars and it's in its detriment really in the zodiac sign of Cancer. So all of us collectively will have a placement where Mars is hitting, but we will tune into that later. Now, this month is going to be pretty lucrative for you guys. You do have the 11th placement, but it's more by mid-month, where we're going to be having Venus transiting into Aries. Now, this is anything connected to your finances, big wins and luck. It could be really branching out and networking with individuals, which can really benefit you. It may be pouring your energy into hopes and dreams. It also can be some creative endeavor that you potentially had started, can start showing some sense of growth and potential finances leaking to it. So it could be a hobby that's turning into a career, or it may be something that you had started in a hope and a dream sense, and it's taken a little bit of time to get some, headway, so to speak. Mercury retrograde did tend to affect that, but you'll find between March and April, I'm really seeing you guys, push that situation forward and clear the deck. I would say some of you potentially might have been looking at your accommodation, especially at the Virgo full moon, and you might have been saying, is this the house for me? Is this the location for me? Is this where I'm going to be forever? It might have been needing to tidy up a little bit, moving some things around to get some good chi energy in, and maybe even over the next 2 weeks, it may be circumstantial that the vibration inside the house, things need to be shifted about and placed in the correct order. Some of you may have already done that, but there may be over the next 6 months, a need and a desire when you may want to change the house up. You might want to decorate it. Hi, Dale. And you may want to move for some of you. I would probably wait till after the 13th. If it is still, in your heart where you're feeling you want to do that, try to wait till Mercury completely goes direct. A lot of us at the moment with such heavy Mercury placements, although you're Mercury in nature, it's making it extremely hard to make a rational decision completely. The reason I say that is because the North Node is in Gemini, which is Mercury in nature. We also have Mercury in shadow in the house of Aquarius. And for you, that was landing in your 9th house, wanting to go. Just want to go. I need a holiday. This can be a psychological holiday. It might have been trying to build things inside of your career sector, tapping into your spirituality, maybe upskilling, differing values with people around you. It can ease up as we move out of the shadow phase, but that's a double Mercury there. And then the Virgo full moon we had, which was connecting in with your second house, I believe. Let me look. Where is it? Virgo was hitting you where? Wakey, wakey, YILDIZ. I'm away with the fairies. I'm looking at the wrong chart, that's why. It is the second house. No, it's not. It's the fourth, home. So if you're running a home-based business, if you, Mercury on Mercury on Mercury. So, see, I'm channeling the demeanor. It will make it very hard to make a decision. So my strongest suggestion is with your nervous system energy, because we had, again, heavy hitting energies with Mars, Uranus and Taurus. We had Black Moon, Lilith and Taurus. It was all hitting you in one hot spot, and it can affect our nervous system. For you guys, Taurus directly connects to your 12th house. So again, 12th house can be very spiritual. It can be the things you're thinking, the hopes and dreams, the ideals. But again, maybe, looking at people like, I'm sure that they're innocent. Maybe this was a misunderstanding. Very separately, it might have been just stress, point blank, zero. So as it moves over to mid-month, you will find it's a little bit like being intoxicated. And I said this to a client. I said, especially with tension, really moving out of last month into this month, many energies were feeling very fatigued, very foggy. The Pisces energy can give you nightmares. You can have spiritual attacks. It can be deeply spiritual as well. But when you're fatigued, your auric field is reduced. So you can find on YouTube guided meditation to increase your auric field. And you generally don't need to do guided meditation to do such. But when it's really reduced, you can use organic foods, breathing exercises, closing your eyes, enhancing it, almost feeling that vibration around you to extend it to a point you don't absorb the toxicity of energies around you. So 9 times out of 10, it does make it harder to do such when we're very run down. So it's a good thing to be moving into over the next 2 weeks, is to increase that auric field, to kind of detoxify those frequencies coming in. You can use tourmaline, you can use amethyst, because, both with the 12th house and nervous system, it's going to support such and keep your fluid up. People are really experiencing a lot of thirst at the moment, so that can help with keeping you on that detox level, so that any toxic energies surrounding you aren't going to absorb into you. Sometimes you can find, if you're tuning into individuals, you will directly take on their demeanor. So to a client, I said, and this was this week, it was, when our psychology is such, and, Pisces does relate to psychology. This is very much the month of mental health. It's the energy of paying attention to ourselves, looking after ourselves. So, in looking at such, it's a little bit like being intoxicated and somebody handing you the keys to make a very important rational decision, and, having passengers, So until we're grounded enough to absorb what this whole Mercury energy was, a lot of it you will already know, but it's implementing and changing things is going to take a little bit of time. But it's a healthier time to wait till we have that new moon in Pisces. And I feel a lot of you will be in a better frame of mind to be able to deal with that. Now, there can be activations of wounds that can come up this month. And that will be because we are having aspects being made to Chiron and Aries, which is very Mars in nature, plus with the energy of Mars transiting over to your first house. You don't want to take the blame. It's white noise to you. It's not that you're not understanding. It's not that you're not sympathetic. It's naturally with all the BS. Add to that then Mars entering your sign. It could really be a positive energy that comes through for you if you're channeling it in the correct area. And we teach people how to treat us. A lot of gems that I've been coaching this month and last month, Sometimes we can get very upset when people aren't treating us in a certain way. I can suggest that, if the person then is exhibiting good behavior, acknowledge such. If they're exhibiting unhealthy behavior, ignore such and move away. And it doesn't have to be, rude by any means. It's just go to the red traffic light. It's, whoa, okay, this is too much. Go into the yellow energy of, I'm just going to focus on me and my co-creative endeavors, and I have a place of heart, but it's no. So, try not to take it personal, because all of us collectively are going through a healing at the moment. And our nerves are pretty much to the point we're fatigued. You will find it is a good time to psychically cleanse your home. Okay, psychically cleanse your home. I would definitely suggest any reflective surfaces to actually use, organic if you can, but Windex or something to that degree. Shiny surfaces you can scry on. And I think because we have the energy there of Pisces, which is very Neptune, it's very 4D in nature, especially if we're having that crown chakra activated. The more fatigued you get, you are more prone to psychic attacks, and you potentially can see ghosts and situations like that. Energies that you surround yourself with, Gemini, be very careful, because also, windows, do, your TVs and any reflective surfaces, and, never really daydream into a well-used mirror TV if it's off and there's reflection. Because you actually can bring those energies, and it is effectively like Nostradamus, you're scrying. If you're ever going to use scrying, and you want tips, I'll probably do some videos on it. It really needs to be a very brand new mirror. It needs to be cleansed, and it needs to be covered at all times, where it is psychically protected so dark energies can't get in. When I first, I technically do scry regardless, but it's not as per se on a shiny surface. I sort of tap into that energy directly in a different way, but I will do videos based on that at some point. Okay, now as for your love life, let's have a look at this. We'll look at money, love, health, family. Okay, money should start picking up. But the work that you do now is where you'll get it next month. So if you can get ahead with certain things, tidy up those bills. I do feel come April, any little steps you're doing, it's going to make the world a difference for the next 6 months. So Mercury retrograde has given us some foresight into what's not working. Quality over quantity, I'm hearing. Now, with your home, the tidy up effect, how your home vibration is going to be. There can be changes. You can have people moving in. It's out with the old, in with the new. So there's changes, so to speak, in that domain, and there can be added responsibilities. There can be new situations, but, move towards the logic of Saturn. Can you handle it? Sometimes we can move into being very romanticized. So it's almost like, okay, it's sometimes when we get our heart's desire, all of a sudden we can be very romanticized. We'll be facing our shadow inside it, but I do think our saving grace will be the fact that we have had life experience. So we will be coming to it in a very grounded fashion. Don't go into things pessimistic or, guarded. I mean, if you are, articulate such to the individuals and just take as much time as you're needing. Try to not feel forced. Now, with your romance sector, let's have a look at that. I think at times it's hard for you to understand that you're coming to terms with an old way of being. You're coming to terms with old traditions and old value systems. And some of them, when you look at them, you don't directly resonate. You've outgrown that. Some of you may have had divorces and separations, and this could be a way, a long time ago, or it might have been most recently, but something in you has directly shifted. You are moving forward, but I do feel over the next, maybe 13 weeks, you might be tuning into that as Juno goes retrograde. So, from a spiritual point of view, you may be looking at those circumstances and feeling, hey, was it fair? Was it right? What did that mean? What can I take away from that? It can be a great time as well for healing inside of connections during that time. Now, from my experience with Juno retrograde, which I'll try and do a separate video relating to it. I tended to find in my twin flame connection and in my soulmate connections with Juno direct and Juno retrograde, there was always a transformation. There was always something happening. And I do tend to trust the process in that from my experience. So I'm not saying at all times it was always nice, but definitely, it always does turn out in the end. So you just have to trust the process. You can see a lot of growth coming, but it's going to be, some of you, it can be that you're directly working from home. Others of you, it can be your viewpoints of relationships is different. And you will find a lot between now and next year. You'll be understanding that what your role was inside that connection wasn't exactly what you thought it was. Now, what do I mean by that? 1st and 7th house axis, which is where the nodes are at the moment. You may have given a lot to love and, had to put yourself on the back burner. I think what you'll realize is through this process, what expectations were, what realities were. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can be, I thought that was my role. And it can be conditioning of, what your parents taught you, what you felt was relevant inside of connections. And, who the new version of you is regardless of society's standards. So, that may be quite unique for some of you coming through, that you're very happy to have an individual in your life that's of that mutual respect and understanding, to have that, tight friendship in it, to have that spiritual connection with that individual without angst, and to allow it to flow. And I feel a lot of you are directly attracting that by shifting the focus onto your domain. Some of you, I do see travel, but this can be, this can even relate to work. It can be a connection starts moving, something starts shifting. This can also be a circumstance inside of a spiritual connection where you're viewing changes and, moving, assessing that group dynamic. But I do feel for many of you, this can be a connection that may go to the next level, or you can start seeing in the next few months some momentum. This can also be in the way that you are carrying yourself. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that the person is, jumping out of an airplane and declaring their love. But for some of you, the way you are showing up in the world is deeply attractive, and people are going to start noticing it. So I do feel for those of you that do have exes or a twin flame, when you're very focused on yourself, it's almost that the energy is shifted back over to you, and it does make that individual a little bit uncomfortable. But again, trust that process. It is part of it. And it's not to play chess. It's not to get, I saw a video the other day and it was to get a masculine to chase you. And I mean, it's not running, it's not chasing anymore, depending on where you are in the journey. So, you go with what you feel is relevant, and the story will unfold naturally. But I do see a lot of focus for you directly on yourself, in your circumstances, and there's a lot of growth happening in your career sector. So trials and tribulations may have come from people's value systems. It may have been through siblings, family-related dynamics. We had Venus in Aquarius. We had Mercury in Aquarius, which we currently do. So technology may have been playing up for you. Subjects relating to if you have children may have been coming up. Looking at maybe, have I learned? Do I, and comparing yourself depending on what field you are. That should sort of ease up by the time we reach the 13th. And you'll probably find even within a week it should do. And as that happens, anything that you looked at that you felt you needed to shift around, I feel you'll be able to take those direct steps. But 2021 moving to 2022, because we do have the nodes in Gemini, white noise and distractions are going to be a regular occurrence. And this can be a very social month for you, Gemini. So, pace yourself, under offer, over deliver, be fancy free. Try not to compartmentalize yourself, because you need the balance of both. And I think this is really what Mercury retrograde was showing us. It's where are those areas that we can shift it around, so we both can have, You know, we can have the element of what we work on. We can have the element of balance and self. And I think self at the moment is very, very important. Now, you will have an opportunity to view in a better light that there is a block that potentially may come up for you. And it's over the next 7 years, really. And it is relating to your ability to grow and expand and have your hopes and dreams. So if you're feeling quite disillusioned, it is because there are aspects being made to Chiron, but we're going to have Venus entering Aries, which will give you an opportunity to look at the benefits. You will start seeing some luxuries in those areas. There can be more passion. There also can be, what have you done for me lately? With Mars being there. And I just don't really think anyone's going to test you this month, Jim. Any questions in the house? Is there anything I'm seeing separately? Some of you I do think are going to go on a holiday. I do think there's going to be a misunderstanding with someone. I do think they're going to take it really personal, but I think it needed to be said. And it's not, I mean, in layman's terms, this conversation piece that I'm seeing you having, this could be to a friend, an ex, it could be to anybody. But the way it's coming through is, you know, you're saying your piece, and it's not that it's rude. It's that the person or people know it's relevant, but they've never experienced that with you. So they're like, wow. And they just have nothing to say. They're utterly stunned. But this does shift it. I don't know why, but it shifts the vibration of it. And the person then directly sees your perspective. And, you know, on the notion of white noise, you may have said these things for a long time, but it's the tone, it's the demeanor. And I'm finding that you're ever so cool when you're saying it. And I think that's what the scary part is, Jim. So it's almost like you've gone past the BS radar and you've gone to the point of no return. And it's a little bit like talking to someone like, I'm going to say this very calmly. I will never say this again. And it's the way you're turning and walking. This person or people are flawed. Got to tell me how this relates. Give me the, well, I could say give me the goss, but hey, this month there is goss, so let's see how it goes. Any questions in the house? I'm going to go have my dinner in a minute. I've got to do, I may do some more tonight with my raccoon eyes. If you would like to have me in the house, please comment after the video is uploaded. I'm going to have dinner. I haven't decided yet. I'm being on a bit of a detox, and I'm going with chicken soup. I used to make an oriental chicken, cabbage, and corn soup. Yeah, corn's a bit fattening, but hey, you know, it's fluid. My cat even gets jealous. She wants it. What did you have for Brekkie Giggle? Opposite side of the world. Who's having what for Brekkie? My mum used to laugh at me. I'd say breakfast. I burnt my hand last night. Nothing yet. You are on a detox, love. Tumble-iron, guys. Put tumble-iron on. Psychically protect yourself. I would say also with your sacral chakra, Gemini, keep it balanced. Breathe. Breathe. Because burnout energy, your kiln is firing on all pistons. Just be really super careful and pre-warn people. Just go, I wouldn't cross me this month. I might lose myself. But not in a good way. 40-day water fast. Yeah, you can't. You have to detox. When I used to do nursing years ago, one location, not naming names, we had a beautiful Italian client, and Italians, Greeks, love and like to use Turks. We all love our coffee, okay? Spanish. We love our coffee, okay? Which, ironically enough, the biggest sales in the world is actually tea, and I was baffled to know that. I was like, really? Although I did live in England, and I do love their tea. I think it's on point. Yes, Indian tea and English tea, 100%. And South African. Yes, Robo tea, I think it is. I love that. Anywho, I don't even know what was Blimmin saying, right? Giggle, help me out here, sister. Help me. Anyway, okay, the nursing. Yes. Okay, so what was I talking about with the nursing? Detox. They took her off her caffeine. She was having, like, I mean, strong coffee. And, you know, in detoxing, it's both with, you can't, I'm telling you, friggin' mercury zapping my brain. I'll get some food in me, I'll be fine. And it's this light, it's really at a bad angle, it's giving me a headache. So if I'm not looking at the camera, it's because I'm getting blinded by the light. There you go. Is the camera going to adjust? Oh, magic. So they decided, with my fluoro face, to take this poor woman off the caffeine. Oh my God, she was screaming. So I ended up gradually giving it back. And you have to wean yourself. You cannot. I mean, could you imagine if we had the Y2K bug, God forbid, and coffee wasn't around? You don't need to worry about zombies or the Walking Dead. I mean, you'd get YILDIZ screaming around the bloody house, I'm telling you. I'd be stalking people's rubbish bins, you know, for the little coffee pods. I mean, my protein shakes are coffee, and I get very mad when I don't have my coffee shakes, and I refuse to buy them unless I'm going to turn it into a mocha, because I don't really eat in the morning. Yes, and I did have a bad experience once with one of those natural proteins that are all plant-based. It was really salty, and I'm like, I'm not down for that. I'm sorry. I don't know what's up with this bloody light. Maybe it's because I'm moving. It's like a heartbeat, really. I'm down to 2 coffees a day. So what are you trying to do? Are you detoxing off caffeine, or are you dieting? What are we looking at here, MM? I always found with diets, you're not giving up coffee. Well, don't give up coffee. God, why? Oh. Beautiful thing is, if you want to protect yourself against psychic attacks, take some, I've got some here. It actually protects you. And the funny thing was, I never knew this until I had a psychic download, and I kept seeing bloody coffee everywhere. I'm going to smell some of it now. Coffee. Place it where you sleep. Sounds odd. Open the jar up. Smells divine. It protects you against psychic attacks. So you can get some coffee beans and you can grind them up. You can get ones that smell, you know, really aromatic. It might be like vanilla bean or something like that. But they actually do protect you against psychic attacks. So if you're a psychic reader, I keep mine in this room to neutralise it. So I open it up at night. And then I discard it within a few weeks. I discard it and I get some new stuff. You can put salt in your room, put salt and water under your bed, which will draw out any energy. And you can use, like Giggle did, crystal grid, or, you know, take some tourmaline with you to bed and amethyst. But don't, I would highly recommend, I've done it myself, don't go through all 7 chakras, and we've got the higher ones as well. The chakras that need balancing will come up naturally, work on them, and then it'll move. If you do them all, it's not fun. Don't keep smashing yourself with the 7 chakras day after day. And definitely, I would recommend not to use crystals ongoingly. Tourmaline's different, but you need to cleanse it of the new and the full moon. I just wash it with salt water, and at the new moon, charge it and alternate to give it a break. So I regularly use that, and mine actually broke this morning, so it's obviously served its purpose, and I've got to get a newbie. Somebody must have been shading me. I deserve it, right? It's totally understandable. Any questions? So yes, this poor woman had to be detoxed off the coffee. My mum tried to do it to her partner once. She swapped the caffeine for decaf. It's like, once you drink coffee, you're immune to it. No way, I am not giving up. Look, there's some things, yeah, that's the 6th house, man. You're going beyond it here. Can you do a crystal grid if you sleep on a mattress on the floor? Yeah. Just put it around the skirt of the bed. Like, you know, if you've got a fitted sheet, put it, you know, around the actual mattress that's on the floor. But it's more, you know, the shiny surfaces in rooms and big doors, glossy windows and things like that, you have to keep them clean regularly. You can't really have mirrors in your room. If you do, must be cleaned. If you can cover it, it's pointing towards your bed, cover it over, because your psychic attacks, it's like energy gets stuck. So it comes bouncing into the room and it affects it. But anyway, this video is getting really long. I hopefully will come back again. I do have one client tomorrow so far. We'll see how that goes. As in there could be more. But yes, I will be coming back potentially later if I don't, you know, fall asleep. Otherwise, it will be tomorrow morning, which will be America's PM. And yes, it will probably be a lot earlier as well. Probably be starting maybe 8 o'clock. I don't know yet. Which would be 5 p.m. Yeah, you can do it in the room, or you can put it in your actual, you know, your fitted sheet at the corner. Do it at the edge. I will be doing some videos based on how to protect yourself psychically, psychic development. I may come for lives after I save them in folders. So I'm trying to work out a new system. I wanted to come to you guys and give you the psychic updates for this month because I used to do them. And I generally have those, then romance, then a mid-month check-in. So I'm just swapping things around at the moment, testing it out. But I am getting into a format. It will be noted how that's going to be because I do have the Members Hub. And obviously the new uploads, the moon energies, you guys will be getting. But I need to freshen the content up. It's for my sanity too. You know, number one, with algorithm on YouTube, the reality is a zodiac sign expires. Yes, theoretically we can do energy, but when we're tapping into astrology, there are aspects that happen at that time. So the analytics and the survival of the channel does mean that the other skills I have, I do need to actually share. Otherwise, the channel's going nowhere. So it's going to be psychic development, twin flame numbers, how to use the twin flame numbers, what they mean, why they stop, why you want a blooming restraining order against them. You know, what wave you are of the twin flame, animal totem. So, you know, some of my psychic experiences with hauntings and things to that degree, how to develop your gifts. So I want to go into those energies. And I'm going to try and, you know, start on a folder and complete that, save it to YouTube, you know, do all the analytics. Then I'll give you a heads up when it's open and go on to the next one. Yes. So I'll be doing tutorials, 5 tips, 10 tips, 7 tips, how to do things, and maybe even some courses later for the things that we can't get past. That may come up. But then it's a natural resource that you can say, okay, dark night of the soul energy. I'm back here again. I'm revisiting this. How do I get myself balanced? Why is this coming through? All of those things. So wherever you are on the journey, you can actually look at that. I'll talk to you soon.